מכובדי נשיא המדינה, ראובן ריבלין ורעייתו נחמה, שגרירים נכבדים, ראשי עדות, ראשי ארגונים בינלאומיים, distinguished President of Israel and distinguished delegates and representatives of religions and international organizations. אני יכול לציין בסיפוק שמספר דוברי העברית ביניכם הולך וגדל, אבל בקצב איטי, ולכן אני אתרגם חלק מדבריי לאנגלית, ואני מקווה שמדי שנה המספר הזה ימשיך לגדול. If you understood what I just said, it means the number of English speakers among you keeps growing each year, and I'll translate what I say in Hebrew now to English. ביומיים האחרונים קיימתי שיחות רבות עם מנהיגים של המדינות שלכם, ראשי המדינה, שרי החוץ, וכך עשו גם אנשי משרד החוץ, ביחס להצבעה האבסורדית שמתקיימת עכשיו באו"ם. התוצאה היא שמספר המדינות שתומכות בהצעה האבסורדית הזאת באונסקו, הוא לא מצטמצם. לפני שנה זה היה 32, לפני חצי שנה זה ירד ל-26, עכשיו זה ירד ל-22, 22 מדינות, אבל אני רוצה שנגיע בהמשך ונמשיך לעשות את המאמץ השיטתי והעקבי הזה, להוריד את זה בכלל, כי לא צריכות להיות הצבעות כאלה באו"ם. I just said that the absurd decisions in UNESCO have to not merely be reduced in the number of their supporters. That's happening, I'm glad to say. Went down from 32 to 26, today to 22. יש היום יותר מדינות שנמנעות או תומכות בישראל מאשר מדינות שמתנגדות לישראל. זה שינוי, זו פעם ראשונה. There are more countries today that are abstaining or supporting Israel than there are those opposing Israel. But my goal is to have no votes in UNESCO and Israel. Last year, UNESCO said that the Jewish people have no connection to the Temple Mount. Can you imagine? They said that. We had 3,000 years ago, Solomon built his temple there. This is the same temple that that was rebuilt by the exiles of Babylon, coming back here with the proclamation of Cyrus the Great. It's the same temple that Jesus visited when he overturned the money tables, the money changers' tables. He didn't do this in a monastery in the Himalayas. He did it in the Jewish temple here. And UNESCO said a year ago that we have no connection to the Temple Mount. This year, they didn't say that. That's an improvement in the march of absurdity. They also said that Judaism, too, has some connection to Jerusalem. Well, we're making progress. But there's still a way to go. And the way we have to go is, in fact, to cut out this nonsense. 100 U.S. senators, 100. Every single one of them. Democrats and Republicans, and I guess there are some independents there too. Every single one of them wrote to the Secretary General of the United Nations and said, enough. The theater of the absurd when it comes to Israel has to stop. So there is a gap still between our expanding, growing bilateral relations and our multilateral diplomacy. It's true the gap is being reduced from year to year, but if I can express a wish to you, I want it eliminated, as I want you to cut your travel time, as the President suggested. Move your embassies to Jerusalem, the eternal capital of Israel, for 3,000 years. And still, I would say that with the exception of Theodore Herzl, who envisioned what I'm about to say in great detail, not everything, but in great, great specificity. With the exception of Herzl, I would say that if the founders of Israel could be with us here today, I think they would be amazed. They would be amazed by this sea of diplomats from around the world who warmly embrace Israel, amazed by the economic and political alliances and relations that we have formed together, amazed at Israel's growing reputation on the world stage. There is, of course, the line among a handful of radical academics and misguided protesters saying that Israel is isolated. No, it's not. Almost daily, I meet with world leaders. Well, to be precise, about 250 leaders from around the world. We have fewer work days, so sometimes we have to meet twice a day, who come to Jerusalem, and we meet here. And the number is growing all the time, year to year. And they all tell a different story. Last week, the Chancellor of Austria said Israel is a role model for the entire world. From African leaders, I hear profound thanks for Israeli technology that helps save and improve lives throughout Africa. From Asian leaders, such as the leaders of Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan that I met recently, or the leader of Singapore, I hear an earnest desire to deepen economic cooperation. I heard the same in Australia as I hear it from the representatives of Latin American countries. From American and Western leaders and others, I hear gratitude for our intelligence, which has helped stop many, many terror attacks in their countries, in your countries. And perhaps most remarkably, from Arab leaders, I hear an increasing recognition that Israel is not an enemy, but an indispensable ally in the common battle against terror and the common effort to secure a different future, a better future for all the peoples of the Middle East. How has this happened? What makes Israel a role model for the world? Well, the first thing, and let me be as clear-cut and candid as I can, Israel is a good society. It's democratic, it's open and welcoming. Minorities thrive. Look around, a vast radius, and you can see how Israel stands out. Everyone here can succeed. You can be an Arab Supreme Court justice, or a Christian diplomat, or a female general, or a Druze minister, or a gay member of Knesset. Our pluralism is our strength. We're not perfect. I don't know which country is, and we always strive to improve. Israel is a moral nation, which from its first day has tirelessly pursued peace with all our neighbors. And we can do a great deal of good in moving towards this, not only with our neighbors, but with every one of you. There is a revolution taking place right now in the world. It is challenged by the forces of militant Islam who want to take us back to a dark medievalism, but we will overcome it. Everywhere, we will overcome it. And the other forces propelling us into an amazing technological future. Everything, every single thing is becoming technologized. Agriculture, water, health, transportation, cars, everything. And those who innovate will seize the future. Every one of your countries, every one of your societies should partake in this future. Everyone needs it. Israel happens to be now a global hub of technology. There are many reasons why it's happened. It's related to our history and to our culture and to other circumstances, but it has happened. When I visited China recently, President Xi said to me, you know, we're about to cross 1.4 billion people. And I said, well, we've just crossed 8 million. And he said, but you're a global power in innovation, in inventiveness. And I have to say that we want to share the fruits of our ingenuity in water, in agriculture, in medicine, in every single field that makes life better, longer, safer. And we want to do it more than anything with our neighbors, because if their life is good, our life will be good. So I, like many Israelis, I know the cost of war, and that is why I'm dedicated to pursuing this peace. And I think this peace can be pursued today in ways that are different and perhaps weren't available before, because I believe that many in the region today understand that there are opportunities and advantages that weren't available before. I think that through the intertwining of regional normalization and Palestinian-Israeli normalization, we can bootstrap our way up to another historic peace. And I hope that the Palestinian leadership will make it possible for us to advance towards that peace. And yet, the payment of money to terrorists by a sliding scale, the more you kill, the more you get, that's the opposite of peace. It sends exactly the wrong message to young Palestinians. We want them to move towards peace. The Palestinian Authority pays roughly $300 million a year. Specific payments, not Social Security, that doesn't exist, regrettably, in Palestinian society yet, but it's paid to a few thousand jail terrorists. And now imagine what happens after a few years. It's $1 billion, and after several years, it's several $1 billion. Imagine if all that money was put towards coexistence, education for peace, joint projects for medicine, for agriculture, for sewage treatment, everything. Just imagine what can happen here. I think this could change the region, and yet it requires this clear-cut shift of direction. I think it's time to stop financing murder and to start financing peace. We are partners for peace. We seek it for our people. We pray for it, we yearn for it, and we're ready to act for it. And we need partners for peace. I know that all of you seek it too. We welcome your cooperation in this effort. And we want, of course, to cement our mutual relations. I would like to personally invite all of you to our 70th birthday celebrations next year. You can do it from your embassies in Jerusalem. But if not, come from near and far, and we invite your heads of state as well. 69 years of statehood is 69 years of pride. The Jewish people is powerless no longer, defenseless no longer, homeless no longer. We use our power for good to treat injured Syrian civilians, to prevent terror attacks, to serve as a model of what our troubled region could look like and what it should look like. Just imagine more Tel Avivs and fewer Aleppos. And yet, despite the shrill and hateful calls from Iran and still from Palestinian quarters to uproot Israel, we're not going anywhere. Israel is here to stay forever, growing stronger, more advanced, more prosperous, seeking peace. I thank you all for coming to celebrate this glorious holiday with us. Thank you all. See you next year in Jerusalem. Toda rabba. Thank you.
תודה רבה לך, כבוד ראש הממשלה. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. ועכשיו, פרקת אל-נור ואופיר בן שטרית, למולדת שוב אירוני, שיר אהבה למולדת, a love song dedicated to our homeland.